The Colours That Blind, Chapter 63, Tumi's Story. It's been 3 days since we left the hospital and 1 day since the trial started. Ambuya has texted a few times, but every time I try asking her about what happened next in her story, she ghosts me. Musa tried calling me this morning, but I was too defeated to pick up. I just watched it ring. Now, about 3 or so hours later, there's a text from him and one from the coach. Tums, I'm worried about you, fam. Holler at your boy. Tumi, this is Coach Ngoni. We haven't heard from you. Is everything all right at home? I haven't responded yet. It all feels too fresh and I think I need a minute before I can respond. Besides, my mind's been occupied by other things. Jabu got moved to a private hospital in Harare and today we're going to see him there. I think Makoma felt bad about everything. He said organising the move was the least he could do to help. He even organised a successful GoFundMe page so that people could contribute to the bill. And I'm so glad people came through because everything has just been so hard on Jabu and his family. They woke him up 2 days ago, the day after we left the hospital, and his brother called when we got home to say we could come visit. So yesterday, Makoma drove me over. I was worried about seeing Bamkuru, but Makoma said they transferred him to the prison a day after we left. I'm hoping this time he stays there. I was a bit uneasy at first because I didn't know how Jabu would react when he saw me. But he tried to hug me with his good hand and even made a joke. His mother, who was sitting by his bed, didn't seem like she held anything against me either. When I started to apologise, she said, "It is the devil's work, Mwanangu. It is not your fault." Although I'm not quite sure how it all adds up, because that particular devil was my uncle and I gave him my blood. I mean, I'm still working on this letting go of the little pieces thing. My head's got it coded like a Rubik's Cube. Some days I think I've got it down, and then on others the rage floods back in and I feel as though I have to begin all over again. Ambuya says my fight to let the pieces go will have many rounds. She says it's because pain has a way of convincing you to keep it. So I'll try. Speaking of Ambuya, I'm still curious about how her story ends. I've been standing here in Makoma's bedroom staring at his wardrobe and trying to decide whether to go looking for the letters again. I'm thinking that if I look at the last ones, I might be able to get a sense of what happened. What's kept me glued to this spot so far is her reluctance to share any more of it with me. I don't know if the story gets any worse, and that scares me a little. As I struggle in my conundrum, Makoma steps in. I turn, knowing I shouldn't be here thinking about going through his stuff like this. By the frown on his face, it doesn't look very good for me right now. "What are you doing in here?" he asks calmly. I follow as his eyes go to the wardrobe, but I say nothing. "Ambuya told me you had one of my letters," he says, loosening his tie and placing his briefcase on the bed. I'm not sure if I should say anything. I'm already waiting for the "it's wrong to go through people's things" lecture. What did you think of it all? That's not normal going according to the script. She didn't tell me all of it, I mumble. She stopped before the end, he asks, sitting on the bed and taking off his socks. I nod. She doesn't like talking about the end, I've learned. At some point when I was in the States, the letters stopped coming for a while. I wrote to her several times, worried that something had happened to her, but she just sent a short note saying she couldn't bring herself to tell me anymore. When she eventually sent the last one, she said she had to ask one of the children staying with her to post it for her because she couldn't. Why does she get stuck on the ending? Makoma leans back on the bed, his body supported by his hands. I think it's difficult for her to me. I think it's like reliving it, and she feels guilty for everything that happened. I don't know. Guilty? What happens at the end? Makoma gets up and heads to the wardrobe. I watch as he hangs his blazer and moves his hangers so they are aligned again. He turns and looks at me. She told you till the part she leaves home? Nah, she stopped after everything that happened during the fire at the Rogers' farm, just got all silent and wouldn't say anything else. She said I'd heard enough. Makoma laughs and reaches up for the box. She told me to give you the last pages of her diary. My heart starts to beat, and I really don't know why. But are you sure you want to know, though, Tumirai? Heck, how am I supposed to be sure of that? But I find myself nodding. Makoma nods back and rummages through the box. I watch him as he pulls out the letter marked number 10. He pauses, looking at me for a while. Endings are such beasts to tackle, he says, handing me the letter. But tackling beasts is what makes us stronger, no? Makoma is being all kinds of philosophical right now, and I don't know what it means, but I nod because I want to get to the part where I start reading the letter. But she wrote you your own letter, he says, pulling a folded note from his pocket before handing me the diary entry with Ambuya's story. There is a picture placed inside the folded letter, One of Ambuya standing next to some white dude, the same guy in the picture she has in her living room. I know it's Ambuya, not only because of the scars, but because in this picture, she's much older, only a little younger than she looks now. She asked me to read it first to make sure it wouldn't be too much for you. He hesitates. It's not an easy read to me. I won't lie to you. Here's what I think. If you're really going to read it, then maybe you should sit down. Wait till you're in the right mind for it. That is really the best advice I can give you. At that, I swallow. What the hell happens at the end?